Okay, you guys, coming up on the podcast today, have you read that New Yorker article, The Cat Person? Why I'm all fired up.
And I'm going over the rainbow to Patti Labelle's house, and I'm telling you all about it.
That is next on the Hey Frase podcast with Paul Wharton.
Woo!
Okay, from live entertainment, outdoor events, they've got it all. Wine tastings, bike rides, yep, that too. Art shows to beer gardens, street hockey to fashion, and so much more. There's always something going on in Crystal City. Go to crystalcity.org for more info.
Are you looking for the go-to real estate team in the Maryland, D.C., and Virginia area? Well, I've got one for you. The Mandy and David team at Compass can show you houses in all price points and every zip code in the DMV.
Love it.
Check them out at mandyanddavid.com.
And of course, our friends at Pacers. We broadcast out of the Pacers running studio here in Arlington, but they've got locations all over the DMV. You can head to Fairfax, the Navy Yard, Alexandria. Just go to runpacers.com for more details. Paul Wharton!
Woo!
Woo!
Here we go.
What's the phrase that you hear every day? Hey, phrase. What's the phrase that you hear every day? Hey, phrase. What's the phrase that you hear every day? Hey, phrase. What's the phrase that you hear? Tune in, yeah, you gotta tune in. Sarah Fraser on the mic and she about to begin. The co-host with the most power. Looking sweet. Take it from me, you should be listening. No need a second guess. Separated from the rest. Entertaining nonetheless. Many topics to address. Sarah, she's so glamorous, the number one hostess.
I'm almost all the way through that song, but like I run out of breath. I mean, I'm not a vocalist like you.
You can't quite hold it?
No, like you really have the pipes. You can hold the notes. I'm not that good.
1 in a million. You know that song? Chance of a lifetime. Larry Graham. Look it up.
Just in my head. You fucking crack me up. Oh my God.
What's up, girl?
You guys, welcome to the podcast, the Hey Fresh podcast with the fabulous Paul Wharton. It has been a week.
Yes.
I mean, Paul has been sitting next to, his dream has come true,
Oh my God.
with Patti Labelle. With the fabulous Patti Labelle. I've been in LA. I mean, I feel like we've lived a lifetime in 1 week.
Oh my gosh, I can't tell you.
But I am, honest to God, I am genuinely, and I know, as your success is rising, the haters are just coming out. The claws,
Girl.
I mean, they are trying to hose you down out of the game.
They be quiet. They are so quiet. I'm
They
like,
are trying to
uh-oh.
take you out.
I just kind of peek through my blinds. It's a brewing. It's a brewing.
But I am so proud of you
Thank you.
because it truly was a dream of yours to do like a one-on-one with Patti, who has been a huge idol of yours. So
Huge.
Have you come down from cloud 9?
First of all, I've only listened to her singing since I was at her house. So for you guys that don't know, I was able to go to Patti Labelle's house. Okay, her actual home, not her fake house on TV, but her real house, because she has a show called Patti's Place on Cooking Channel, and she films.
Is that the studio?
And it's a studio.
Oh, got it.
So people say, oh, you went to the house. No, honey. I went to the house.
To the house.
The house where all the pumps are and the diamonds. Oh, I went to the real house. With the gates and the wreaths and like all that stuff.
Outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Really?
It was
And
so
it's
fabulous.
like gorgeous gated community?
Gorgeous gated community. By the way, shout out to my team. I have the most amazing team. Okay. And my mama.
I know you brought your mom. I saw on your Insta story that she was there.
Yes. Well, it takes
So
a village.
cute.
It takes a village. And it's so funny because I actually, went to rent the van because we needed a van. So I got the van, and then, from the time we left, my makeup artist, Janelle, she was driving the van. I was in the passenger seat, and then I had Tracy, who does staging and produces, and my mom, of course, back there, and then Leslie, our girl Leslie, who...
Oh, she's so sweet. She's amazing. She's been doing all our videos if you see the video clips that are on either Paul Wharton's Instagram or Hey Frase Instagram, you'll see them behind the scenes. She really, she's punching it up here. She's
amazing.
doing a great
So
job.
That song that I told you to download.
Yes, I've got...
Okay, so I put this on right as I'm leaving D.C. on New York Avenue, all right?
Wait, this one?
I just put it on in the car.
What's this song called?
It's called I Believe, one night only, live performance. Take it in, kids, take it in. There's always hope. All you gotta do is believe. So wait, Sarah. Yeah, she gonna hit it. Hit it, Pat. So wait. wait. Let me tell you something. So I put this song on, and I didn't even realize this, but I just like burst out crying.
Really?
And I cried for like 20 minutes. Like the boo-hoo, not like a little soft little tear.
Because it was just like so your dream that you're like hosting your own special and like all of it has come together.
More so about me really wanting to do this with her, because I've hosted other holiday specials before. I did one with Paula Deen, I did one with Tyra Banks, but this one was really, really special to me because when I was a kid, okay.
Oh my God.
How I knew I was gay, okay? Because I used to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow and like flail my arms and all that stuff like Patti LaBelle does.
Okay, sure.
I wasn't ashamed to do it in front of my father. It was one of those things because certain things I wouldn't do in front of him. I knew that was like just for mom or just for Holly.
Okay.
But that was one of those things I couldn't hold back. I had to like let it go. When Patty hit that high note, I was like, I gotta let it go. I gotta fly up out of here.
You're like, I don't care what he thinks.
Total full circle moment. So I've admired her for all these years. I've loved her. And we had a special story that we shared on the holiday special about us meeting when I was 13 years old. And she remembered it.
You did meet? Where did you guys meet?
We met. Okay, so what had happened was I used to go to all her concerts when I was a kid. So I was 13 years old. I would save up my allowance and I would buy tickets to all 3 nights. Okay?
All 3 nights?
All 3 nights. So she would perform at Constitution Hall
for
3 nights in a row, and I would buy tickets for all 3 nights.
Damn.
And then I would, the first night my parents would agree to it, and then somebody would drop me off. And then the second night, I wouldn't tell them. Sometimes I'd jump out the window and, somehow get downtown. And we lived in the suburbs. Well, on the second night, I found out that Patty used to come out through the stage door and greet her fans after the show.
Oh my God. So of course you were like waiting, like of course, every night.
So night 3, I was ready. So I left the show early, but my stepmother was picking me up. So anyway, I went out to meet Patty where, she was going to come out. And my stepmother's right there beeping, come on, I got to go. Come on, let's go. Because the police were trying to move her. You know me so well. No. Patty's coming. I'm waiting.
Circle the block.
Circle the block. And apparently that's what she did, but then they closed the block.
Oh.
So I thought she left. In fact, I wanted people to feel sorry for me.
So you tell people your stepmother left you at Patti LaBelle's concert?
She left me. And so all the people around me saw, one of them was her chauffeur. So when Patty came out, he told her the story, and she comes right over to me and she says, hey, what happened? You got left? And I said, yeah, she left me, Patty. And she's like, well, I mean, if worse comes to worse, I can't leave you out here. You're going to have to climb in the back with me in the back of the limo.
Oh, my God. You're like, dream come true.
I'm like, okay, great. I'll change my last name to Labelle. Let's see. I'll have to get all new clothes.
You've already moved in.
Yeah. I had it all figured out. I would just go on the road. I'd be homeschooled from backstage.
That is amazing.
So anyway, her people pulled her to the side, and they used to have 2 cars. So the other driver ended up taking me home.
Really?
Yes, and I was so mad at him when he was like, I'll take him. I was like, no, I'm going with Patty, fool. I have a whole life ahead of me. I'm about to go over the rainbow every night. So anyway, that was our story. But she remembered that moment. She didn't know it was me. But she remembered and she told the story. So it's fantastic. If you're in this area, Christmas morning, 9 a.m., Channel 5, home for the holidays with Paul Wharton and Patti LaBelle.
I'm so excited for you, and I can't wait. I mean, I won't be here, but I'm setting my DVR because I know how important this is, and I can't wait to support you. So I'm so glad that it all worked out.
Oh, we had so much fun.
I know, and so I was in LA, and I missed you, and I thought of you mostly because I realized I'm a complete star fucker, and I don't know if I could ever live there because I do nothing but chase down celebrities.
Tell me everything.
Well, basically, I went out there because podcasting is so hot, right? Okay. Podcasting for Hollywood is like the new, I'm trying to think of like what a recent trend was in Hollywood, maybe 10 or 15 years ago. I don't know, like, in the 90s, the late 90s, when it was like the rom-com, like romantic comedies where like Matthew McConaughey was everywhere, right? Okay, so podcasting is the hottest thing. So this podcast company a while ago, I think I'd shared this with you, had reached out to me and had said, hey, we love the Mansion Murder podcast that you did. We love your voice and how you put that together. And then your own Hey Frase podcast. Are you coming to LA? So I just said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to strike while the iron's hot. I'm very much like about feeling, you know, I think you and I share that. But when you have that feeling in your gut, you're like, I just need to go because something is going to come of this.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I went, it was great. And they were like, you know, do you ever want to produce more true crime podcasts? So I have to think about, do I want to produce more true crime podcasts? Because it's definitely, I think it's a path I could take, but you know, it's a ton of work.
What's your gut tell you, just off the top?
Well, I love, you know, it's hard to say because, like, of course, this is my passion so much, you know, like our podcast that we're doing and doing much more of a talk show where you talk about things like I can almost incorporate like Mindful Mondays in the Mind of Frase, this, you know what I mean? Like all kinds of different segments. So that's the goal. But I think like you and I know, sometimes you have to ride a certain wave to get to that. Because I'll tell you right now, the pop culture podcast is not hot out in Hollywood.
Okay.
Like, not that it's not hot, but it's just like, they're like, we don't know how to make that a show yet.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
So you're kind of like, well, this is a really cool opportunity.
Well, you got to get in where you fit in, right?
Right.
And then
what do you think?
make things move.
You've been in the entertainment business a long time.
Well,
What do you
I think what I just said, you got to get in where you fit in, you know, whatever angle. Like I just met with a guy who used to be an executive over at Discovery, and he produces shows, he creates shows, and we went into a development deal because he's got an amazing agent at UTA that I've never been able to get to.
Sure.
And, you know, he's got his connections at all the networks that he shops shows around to, and I've got the idea and access to the talent. So
Perfect.
we put this little development deal together to shop 2 shows around. And, you know, so although I didn't necessarily want to, you know, enter into another deal with another producer like me, and then we have to work with a production company because that splits my cash in 2.
Right.
But I got to get in where I fit in. You know, he's got something that I need and I've got something that he needs. So we're going to work together.
See,
so I say go.
All
and
right.
take me with you.
I was going to say, I was texting Paul. I was like, could we do this show bi-coastal and like sometimes be in LA? Because I loved it. And of course I had to go to the Beverly Hills Hotel, which is like, have you been there?
Yes, of course.
Oh my God. It's like, it's a legendary hotel. I mean, I think many celebrities over the years have lived there. Their drinks are like $30 for a cocktail. It was insane, right? But I dragged Dan there. I met a friend of mine who used to be in TV, who used to work with us at Fox. He came along. I was like, look, I'll pay for all your drinks. No, is their brunch amazing?
Well,
we went at night.
It's very sceney. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Brunch around the pool. But gosh, I think a club sandwich was like $30.
Oh my God, it's
$35.
insane. It's insane.
It's crazy.
So I sat down, I ordered my $30 cocktail. I was like, excuse me, do you have a free nut mix? Like, I mean, can you bring over? And they were like, absolutely. They bring over these homemade chips. I'm like, that'll do. I'll have refills on that. But I'm sitting there and like Keith Urban walks in with Sunday Rose, his daughter. And then, did you ever watch Mariah Carey's reality show?
No.
You know her manager, Stella? Stella was there.
The Russian Stella?
Yeah, the kind of Russian woman.
Yeah. I heard they broke
Gorgeous
up.
in real life. They did.
Yeah.
She fired her. Who knows why? And then also, okay, do you watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
I do.
All right, PK.
Yes.
Dorit's husband.
Oh, I love it.
Died.
Wow.
I
Did you
said, Dan,
speak?
yes, I'm like,
Did you
I'm like
speak- did you
trying
speak to everybody?
I'm trying to, but then Keith Urban was very, you know, I mean, walks in, and of course they're at the hotel. I mean, everybody that works there, everyone that's there is used to like all stars, so no one's making a big deal. I'm like, oh my God, Keith Urban, Stella.
Did you go over?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I actually
He just
didn't.
had the
It was
energy of-
very. Yeah, very much like I mean, he was sweet, but like did not look at anybody. The kids were like running in and out, and he looked like he was walking straight to his table and sitting. And so when somebody sits, like I've had that moment where I went to Stevie Wonder's table and his bodyguard got up and told me that Stevie Wonder was not interested in meeting anybody now or ever. So I was like, okay.
Did he say that?
Yes.
Now or ever?
I was at Khan's Sushi. And I was like, fuck it. I've had a ton of sake. I'm going over. I want a picture with Mr. Wonder. I go over. This giant bodyguard stands up and he goes, Mr. Wonder is not taking guests.
Oh my God.
I said, okay, well, is he, you know, when he's done? No, he's not taking guests now or ever.
Oh my God.
I was like, okay. And the entire restaurant is looking. It was cool.
Well, I got to tell you, that happened in LA.
I was wasted, so I didn't care.
That happened. I was at Malibu at Nobu, and Drake was there. So we roll up and we see the Rolls Royce outside with the you know something poppy on the plate. It was so cute. I was like, oh, that's Drake's Rolls because I've seen it in pictures. And And I was there.
That's pretty good. I wouldn't have recognized that. That's pretty.
This is before the election, by the way, when Omarosa and I were tight. So she came as my guest.
Oh, got it.
And she was trying to get a picture with Drake. He was in the men's room. And his bodyguards were right outside, and they told her, no pictures with him. And she's like, oh, I'm just going to wait for him. They were like, nope, not now or later. Not going to happen.
Wow, so even Omarosa got rejected. That makes me feel so much better.
And I remember her saying, I'm a celebrity too. And I was like, it's time to sit down, okay? This has really gone left, okay?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, it was a great trip. I'm so glad we both had a great week, and people were loving last week's show. I wanted to share an email. Last week's show was Put Some Respect on My Name. People loved your story, Paul.
Okay.
And I got this letter from Christie. She writes, hey, Paul and Sarah. First, I'd like to say I adore the podcast. I look forward to hearing the new episode all week. Listening to you all is like taking a vacation. I'm enlightened but entertained and also moved. Gah. I just love you guys so much. Anyway, the Respect My Name episode really resonated with me. I'm relatively accomplished for my age. I have a graduate degree, a good job, and 2 beautiful, albeit crazy kids. However, I have a tendency to downplay my accomplishments, both personal and professional, and definitely revert to a meek, apologetic girl more often than I would like to admit. Thank you for giving me the encouragement to own my value, know my worth. I'm going to make an effort to remember your words. Paul, I am Paul motherfucking Morton, baby. P.S. Has anyone ever told you your voice is like butter? So smooth. Okay, is this getting weird? Thanks, you guys, Christie.
I love every moment of that. And that's why we do this, right?
It is to be like, and that's the thing about podcasting is it allows us to be so much more personal than radio or TV ever will be. Because you can actually get into a story and get like deeper about what's happening in our lives, which is what we always want to be doing with this podcast.
Yeah, I think one of the most powerful things I've ever learned is that it's okay to love myself.
Yes.
You know, because you're so used to looking at what's wrong with you and what's not right and what you don't have, and that starts to play over like a reel in your head, and then other people help to perpetuate that by telling you what's wrong with you and what you're not, and you know, one day you just have to say, well, wait a minute, actually, I think I'm all right.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? That is a true moment. And I don't know about you, but over the years, like a couple years ago when I really started therapy, really owning the fact that I was worthy of love. Like, this is why I do, you know, for me, my things were always around body image and losing weight, and I was always on crazy diets, but I never believed that anyone would really love me if I was truly myself, like at any weight. I always was trying to lose weight because I really felt like there's no way a man is ever going to just love me if I'm not a size 4.
Yeah.
You know, so it took me, when I really realized that, like I was worthy of love at any size, that was like my moment.
Well, that's interesting because I relate to that.
Really?
I relate to that, but not about my weight. I feel like, you know, sometimes, just to be really honest, I feel like there are certain things in life that I've, you know, been able to do, or, you know, certain good things that I've been blessed with.
Yeah.
But love is just not in the cards for me. So I feel that way, not necessarily about, you know, my image, my body image per se, but I think that there's some people that are just kind of like left out there, like in between. Do you know what I mean? I do, because I have a desirable life, but connecting on that level, like in terms of, it's just never has worked out. You know, it's just never worked out.
And what if you come to the realization, like, have you just come to, it seems like you're at peace with it, though, that you're like, if I find love in somebody that wants to be a part of my life, I'm good. If not, I'm okay. Or is that not really, you're not really there yet?
No, that's real.
Oh, that's really good.
That's really real. And what helps is I am authentically enjoying the fuck out of my life, okay?
Right.
When I tell you I'm living, no.
Right.
I'm not kidding you. I wake up in the middle of the night with such a big smile on my face. Sometimes I roll over and I'm like cheesing from ear to ear.
That's awesome. That's like the way it should be.
And I will be mindful of that. I'm like, wow, I am smiling my ass off in my sleep. Not even about a dream, but just like, oh my God, tomorrow, and I'm going to get up, and this is great. I feel so comfortable. You know, I'm living my life. This is fantastic. I just saw Patti. My book is sitting on my shelf.
Yeah, like, that's true. You've had a lot of amazing things come together.
Just happy. So, you know, if love isn't in the cards for me right now, I don't want to be a pessimist about it, but I'm not waiting for that to happen.
Right. You're not holding on to it.
You know, and I don't want to try to
A lot of people are. That's a big thing for a lot of people.
It is a big thing.
Because they feel like they need somebody. Yeah.
I think you're right. But I think that people have heard me talk about, you know, Brussels and these different, you know, people. But I think I don't want to try to make something work that isn't really organically working, or it's not the time for that. You know?
Yeah.
I don't want to send that message out there. Oh, I've got this thing in Brussels and Rome. Well, shit, I live in Washington, D.C. How the hell that going to work?
Right.
Do you know? Maybe it will, but I'm not necessarily waiting for that.
It depends. Did he buy that place on the beach of Portugal?
You sound like my friends.
Oh my God, Paul, we have so many freaking stories to get to. So much shit has happened. First of all, can we discuss this kid, Keaton, who is the kid that went viral with 27 million people viewing. Had you crying. I saw you post about it. I was like all in for a second until the mom turns out to be a huge racist. So, I mean, we have to talk about that.
Talk about it.
I don't even know if you had time to read this article, but I loved it. It's gone viral for kind of all the wrong reasons in the New Yorker, and it's called Cat Person.
Okay.
It's this woman who basically wrote a story, and I'll summarize the whole thing for you, and I want you to tell me why you think women are so mad about this story. So we'll get to that, and then also I can't wait to tell you about the woman that's had sex with 20 ghosts. Do you believe that? Yes. Do you think you can actually have sex with a ghost? Have you ever had sex with a ghost?
No, don't really
no one's been
know.
visiting you in the middle. Like Casper hasn't wanted to like give you a blowjob in the middle.
No, not that I know of.
I think this is awesome. I totally want to have sex with a ghost.
I'm
looking for someone who can summons them or whatever. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Because it can't be cheating if you're fucking a ghost,
Be careful
right?
what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for, Sarah.
Oh my God, there are so many good stories. So this Keaton kid, first of all, yesterday, have you died with this? Have you died? So if you guys aren't, everybody's following this story. It's by far like the biggest thing that's trending on Twitter. This kid, you saw the video, went viral. He's talking to his mom about how these kids at school pour milk on him, throw baloney at him. And the poor kid, I mean, it was like devastating, right? He's tearing. He's like got tears in his eyes. He's crying. His mom is asking him. Okay, goes viral. All these celebrities come out of the woodwork, right? Mark Ruffalo, Chris Evans, and people are inviting him to their movie screenings. Then there's an MMA fighter who says, he reaches out to the mom, and that's where the story starts to go sideways.
Come on, Sarah.
So Joe Schilling is an MMA fighter, right? So he ends up reaching out to the mom and says, I'll fly you and your son, Keaton, out to watch one of my fights. She goes, nah, we don't want the flight. We'd like the money. I've set up a GoFundMe. So did you see this video? So Joe ends up putting her on blast on his Instagram. He posts a video of him talking about how the exchange went down. That she was like, okay, let me bring that up. And by the way, Keaton and his mom this morning were on Good Morning America.
What? This young boy crying.
Here's their.
Bullied. Well, yesterday, another image of him started to emerge. A picture of him posing alongside a Confederate flag. His mother admits she posted that picture of him and the family with the flag. But now she's trying to explain herself to a lot of people who aren't feeling so good about what was supposed to be a feel-good story.
This is on Good Morning America.
I did not ever imagine for any of this to happen.
He's the brave boy from that heartbreaking video seen by more than 20 million people.
Why do you find joy in taking innocent people and finding a way to be mean to them?
Earning him invitations from a list of celebrities and a slew of famous friends.
This kid is all time. He's a legend. Go check him out. His name's Keaton.
But this morning,
Justin Bieber.
Controversy is clouding Keaton's message after alleged social media posts some believe are from his mother, Kimberly Jones, caused a swift backlash from those who earlier quickly jumped online to support him.
We're not racist. I mean, and people that know us know that.
The Tennessee mother's Facebook account, which originally posted the bullying video,
What do you
is
think?
now private.
No.
What do you
Jones
think?
told ABC News the photo of her
shit be
family
coming
posing
back
with the
on you.
Confederate flag is real, but says it's not racist in any way.
It was meant to be ironic and funny and extreme. I am genuinely, truly sorry. If I could take it back, I would.
Despite Jones' photos and alleged writing coming to light, many people online are still choosing to stand with Keaton, saying they can separate the 11-year-old from his mother's reported actions. One tweeting, "We cannot hold kids accountable for the actions of their parents and family.
Okay.
Though disheartening, we were all moved by the effects of bullying, and to end it, let's continue to focus on that."
What do you
Anyone
think?
hate me?
Well, I agree with that.
What do you think? She goes on to basically talk about, people want to hate her, fine, but, everybody should support Keaton, and Keaton's truly being bullied at school. Okay, you go first. Because I don't know. I don't think I stand with Keaton anymore.
Well, I mean, obviously, the way the video was produced, it was a straight setup because we don't know the other side of the story, right?
You think so? You think it was?
We don't know, like, why those kids were mean to him. You know, initially, of course, I was all on his side.
Well, he claimed his looks, that they make fun of his nose. They make fun of, he's got a big kind of scar, I guess, on his head. So I'm not sure, what happened. But, the kid's kind of cute and, he's at that adolescent age, right? Where everybody looks a little goofy and they kind of getting acne and all that stuff.
Well, it's hard for me to
you can just say you don't support him anymore. I know. You're being so diplomatic. You're like, I don't want to say
I don't support the mom with the GoFundMe and all that and all her hate and all her
bullshit.
crap.
It's a total...
Fuck that bitch.
Fuck that bitch. You know what?
Oh, no.
That bitch.
Right. I need to keep her poor. Nope.
The GoFundMe absolutely killed me.
Yeah.
Her daughter came out and says, no, it's not us, but there's several accounts, and apparently GoFundMe has frozen all of them until they figure out which one is going to her. But the truth of the matter is that one of them was set up to go to her, which to me is like,
wow.
I don't care. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to bully this kid, and a lot of people are very upset that this kid is now going to get bullied by the entire internet. But I just think at that point, if you're out for a paycheck on this, that just...
Well, yeah, I don't think the kid deserves that. I don't think the kid deserves that. And I think the mom, used her kid to set up this thing that she had hoped would go viral. And it did in the end. I mean, who knows what's going to go viral?
Right.
And this did. And unfortunately, but the fact that they would go on Good Morning America is kind of like...
Well, I think they kind of had to. I mean, they were getting so much she posts these pictures with the Confederate flag, which I don't think is funny, and I think anybody, especially in this day and age, knows how controversial that is. I think if you're posing with the Confederate flag, you are doing it partly out of... whatever, whether you are old school and you're siding with the South or, you believe that the flag still has purpose, fine. But everybody knows what that flag represents.
Absolutely.
So for her to say that it was just supposed to be irony and funny is, I just think, lame.
Well, the bottom line for me is it's still sad because that kid obviously had pain. Those were real tears. And I'm sure that he did get kicked up in the ass, probably for some things that he'd heard from his mom and from his family.
And that's the thing, too, is that now there's also rumors that Keaton had called these kids the N-word, and that's when they dumped them. I don't know.
Yeah, but he learned it from his mom. I mean, he didn't come out of the womb saying, N-word.
Right.
So this will be a powerful lesson for him, maybe a life-changing moment for Keaton moving forward, because despite whatever his mom says, he'll know how the world reacted to what really came to light.
Right.
Which is that his family's fucked up. In
the meantime, we've retracted our invite for Keaton to come to the podcast.
You cannot come on the podcast, Keaton.
Yeah, your bus ticket is no longer valid.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know. That story totally turned me off. I'm just so turned off by the mom. I'm so turned off by the Joe Schilling, incident. And that guy has no motive to go on there and say that, she didn't interact with him the way she did, unless that was true. I don't know. It's so disheartening. That's what I think is so disheartening, right? Is like you have this really innocent, what you think is a really innocent motive, and then all this other crap comes out and you're like,
yeah,
I don't know.
It's tough, but it's hard to really come down on the kid, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to come down on the kid.
I don't know. I think I could.
You could. you don't like kids anyway.
True. Maybe that's it. No, I don't know. For me, there were so many things from the start. Like when I watched that video and everybody was like tweeting about it, I watched it and I was like, I always think when parents do this, there's a level of coaching, right? Well, what do they do to you? Well, what do they, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like, those moments, okay, you want to raise awareness about bullying. It's like, to me, and I heard somebody else say this, that like, if those kids had been doing that, that mom would have been like in the school saying something about it. I don't know. I just feel like, and I understand by bringing that video to light, she also created awareness about bullying. But I just think I don't know. To me, it seems so to coach. But maybe I'm jaded.
Well, I think collectively as a society, we have the opportunity to kind of change this kid's perspective on what's right and wrong.
Oh, that's a good way to approach it.
You know? So that's the positive for me. And although he's going to have to go through it with his mama for a while, I think as he gets older, imagine if he just stayed on that path with hearing the things that he probably hears at home.
Right.
I mean, this could be a potentially very hateful person,
right?
Especially with all that anger that he has from people kicking him up in the ass.
Yeah.
You know, so this could be a life-changing moment for him.
It could be a really big one.
Good luck, Keaton.
Good luck. Good luck, Keaton. New hashtag.
That's all I got on that.
Hashtag good luck, Keaton. Are you surprised that Mario Batali is now leaving his shows and restaurant empire after 4 women have alleged him of sexual harassment?
What the fuck? What did he do?
Well, same thing that all these guys do, basically. They all they won't take no for an answer. They show up at your hotel room. They whip their dicks out.
What did he do?
No, he's combating sexual harassment in the workplace, according to a Fast Company article that aired earlier this week. He says that he is stepping down. He is taking a leave from the restaurants. And one woman described 2 instances where Batali made inappropriate and unwelcome physical contact with her, while the other alleges that Batali groped her breasts and her buttocks at an industry party. 3 of them worked for him, while the 4th was not working for him, but works in the industry. He apologized in a statement to the Washington Post saying, quote, "I apologize to the people I have mistreated and hurt. Although the identities of most of the individuals mentioned in these stories have not been revealed to me, much of the behavior described does, in fact, match up with ways I've acted."
Okay. Because that's in ways that so many people have acted.
Oh, my God.
I was at a holiday party on Sunday, and a guy that I didn't know, I was standing there having a cocktail, and a guy that I didn't know kind of leaned into me, and he kind of rubbed my butt up and down.
Right.
And I kind of slowly looked over, and I was like, back that thing up. And we had a little chuckle. I didn't know the guy at all. I've never met him before. Now, okay, I'm not minimizing anybody else's feeling about that.
Okay.
But I'm out here in these streets, okay? Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, not really. What does that mean?
I'm trying to keep the lights on in this motherfucker.
Oh, okay. So you're out there hustling. So
No. What I mean is, I'm not that sensitive. Yes, the guy did rub my butt up and down.
I understand.
I didn't know the guy. I didn't think he was hot, so it wasn't like I liked it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But do I need to have a press conference and say, this guy was at a party? It was an industry party. And he rubbed my butt up and down, my buttocks. He squeezed my buttocks and he breathed in my neck. I mean, it's just, I'm not trying to minimize, but there's certain things, human interaction, that we go through, and we have to kind of tell people to, hey, okay, I like that, I don't like that, back up, don't come, whatever.
And how do you feel about, there was also an article too that I read, and I was like, that makes me think, because I hug people all the time at work. Do you think that there's an article basically out that's arguing, in light of Me Too, we need to stop touching each other, kisses on the cheeks, air kisses, hugs, it needs to kind of end?
That'd be a bummer. It really would be a bummer.
Right.
There's so
I know
much,
you and I hug all the time and air kiss all the time.
But there's so much kind of separatism going on in the United States and the world. To have those moments where you can embrace someone, give them a little kiss on the cheek. I mean, I love those little quick little moments.
Sometimes people just need a hug. They need human touch.
Sometimes they need a hug.
Yeah.
I hugged this lady the other day who's a friend of mine. She was looking a little down. I gave her a hug. And she started crying. And then she was telling me she was having a really rough day. And she sent me a text later and said, hey, I really needed that hug. Thanks so much.
Oh, I feel like I know we are in this funny place where I hope what it does is makes people stand up for what they like and what they don't like. If you don't like to be hugged, I think it's perfectly acceptable now to go, you know what? I'm not a big hugger. Then you would know, right?
Yeah.
And that's where people don't do that initially. So then you never know, do they want you to hug them? Do they not want you to hug them?
Well, I would love for people to really look at the other person's intention, because,
that's good too.
Did they really intend to objectify me, physically abuse me? Or were they being tongue-in-cheek? Or were they flirting with me? Or did they want to have a little fun little moment because we're just all out here trying to release a little tension,
right?
Or whatever. So for me, I try to look at that, because really coming out against someone, I mean, there's a lot of people that have gotten the short end of the stick in life. They just have.
Right.
They feel kicked up in the ass, kind of like Keaton is right now,
right.
And his mama, And later in life, they really want to get back and pull people down.
Right.
That is just the truth. And I'm not saying that it's most of these people or anything like that. What I'm saying is look at the intention of these quote unquote offenders.
Right.
Are they really after going after I want to get in your pants so bad? Or were they just out having fun at a holiday party while drinking?
And they're saying to you, you're attractive, you're hot, like, look at you, you're a cute number, and then that's it, you know?
What happened to those times? Because I've never raped anyone and I've never been raped, but I've felt up a whole bunch of people and I've been felt up a whole bunch of times. And 9 times out of 10, I've enjoyed it. So for me to come back later and say, I was at an industry party and he felt me up. Okay, even if I didn't enjoy it, I'm like, back the shit up. And if the person doesn't back up, then we have a problem.
I think, you know, the difference is like a lot of these women that are coming out and speaking have lost job opportunities, have not advanced, especially the stuff that was happening at Fox with people like Roger Ailes, with people like Harvey Weinstein that were holding roles over people's that were really fucking with their money and their income. You know, that's, I think, where these strong women of Me Too are standing up because it impacted their lives greatly. And that's the issue. Like a flirt or something like that is fine, but when somebody is basically whipping out their penis, I mean, Louis C.K., like jerking off and what? I mean, that's the type of stuff that is putting a person in such a uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, that's an abuse of power.
Yeah, exactly.
That's definitely an abuse of power. But, you know, I got to tell you, I mean, with a lot of those, you know, the Harvey Weinsteins and all those situations, I mean, there are a lot of people that couldn't even get a meeting, get to the table, you know? I mean, I feel like sometimes, because I have women that are in the industry and they tell me sometimes they make choices to get ahead, to do what they need to do.
Right. And that's, of course, where we start getting the hate mail, because women, and I understand this point, women are saying, well, you shouldn't even, no woman or man should ever even have to do that.
They shouldn't ever have to do it, and they don't have to do it. But what I'm saying to you
some people make that conscious
some people
choice.
Make a choice, okay, where they say, you know, I'm going to go down this road because some people want to date the big boss. I'm telling you this from personal experience. This isn't hearsay.
I've been there.
I'm not going to name any names, but I'm just telling you what happens.
I
out
ever
here.
worked for a hot boss that I wanted to date and
well, sometimes you don't necessarily want to date them, but you're just like, God, I'm screwing out here in the streets for free anyway. Why don't I just set my sights on the boss, get a better paycheck? Now, I know this may not be the popular thing to say, but it's the truth. I mean, it's the truth as I see it. The truth as I see it is sometimes we put ourselves in certain situations. Sometimes we do, because we feel like we don't want to necessarily abscond from the situation. We don't want to leave because we want to be there when, you know, when the harvest comes in.
Sure. I see what you're saying.
But we see what it's taking to make all that happen, which is, you know, late night meetings, cocktails in the office, hotel meetups. Who the fuck goes to somebody's hotel room for a meeting? Come on. If I go to somebody's hotel room for a meeting upstairs to their hotel room.
I know. I think you have to be smart.
Something's going on.
Yeah.
How are you getting in a position where...
But the problem is, like, a lot of those women for Harvey Weinstein, their agents were sending them. I mean, that to me is the crazy shit. Is like their agents were like almost setting them up and sending them, you know, that to me is like, wow, really crazy. Really, you know...
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
I know. It's a fine line for you because, and I get it too. I'm not easily offended either. And I'm sure there are instances that maybe other women would be in that were in my position and they would not be comfortable with it. But I think it depends on the person, and it depends on your past sex experience and sexual trauma that you may have experienced as a kid. Or, you know, there's many, many factors I think that goes into how you react to someone. Aside from, I think, you know, Harvey Weinstein, in my opinion, and Roger Ailes, those guys are on a different level of...
I think they're all gross and totally disgusting. And,
gross.
And, you know, when I was young, I had just one incident that was definitely someone completely overpowering me and, you know, doing something that he shouldn't have been doing. And I knew that was the case, and there was no one around. So I get being in a position where you have no power and you have no voice in that. But I think that I always remember that. And even though earlier on I was like the little slight kid, you know, the skinny guy or whatever, I never would let anybody kind of come into my space like that. And I probably missed out on several opportunities early on in my career when I was doing national stuff on MTV and VH1 and TV Land, you know, because I wasn't playing the game. Like, I didn't go to the after party in Hollywood Hills,
right?
You know, to do the sex party and the blow and all that kind of stuff with the guys that were all on the shows that I wanted to be on,
right?
Because I just wasn't into it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's so good. Oh my God.
But
oh my God.
knew what it meant to go up that hill. Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You were aware. You were smart enough to get it.
At 2 o'clock in the morning, getting in that Porsche, you know, to go up the hill into the Hollywood Hills to that house that everybody was going to, all on the shows that I wanted to be on, was I willing to go up that hill and make it happen and kind of, you know, roll the dice on what would happen to me afterwards? I wasn't into it.
Good
and
for
I'd always
you.
come home early. I would always get a flight back to the East Coast early from LA.
Gotta go.
Yeah, gotta go.
How do you feel about this? The new term in relationships is called culturally single. I loved this Cosmopolitan magazine, Cosmo.com article. Essentially, it means that you are in a relationship, but you do not consult with your partner or your husband or your wife about decisions you make. For example, taking a trip, buying a car.
I don't know about that.
How do you feel about that? Like these people, I thought this article was great. It essentially is saying that more millennials and young people they already have a strong sense of single identity. They feel as though I've made my life. I'm putting myself together. I don't need anybody else. So when this partner comes along in my life, awesome to have them, but I'm still operating as though I am single, you know, strong single person. So I don't have to consult with them. How do you feel about that?
Well, I didn't know that things went down that way. I mean, I thought the whole point of being in a relationship is so that you did have someone to talk to and share things with and make decisions together. You know, not saying that you can't be an individual, because I think it's really important to maintain like who you are and not forget who you are. I figured you would.
I make decisions all the time without Dan.
Do you really?
Yes.
I think you just talked shit on the podcast. You were all up in Dan's face.
You always say that. No, I'm dead serious.
What's the last decision you made without Dan? That's a big decision.
I was like, I'm going to LA. I was like, do you want to come or do you not want to come? One way or the other, I'm going.
Culturally single person would have just booked their ticket and been like, I'll see you Tuesday.
You think, so I'm not really culturally single enough. Like I needed to just book it and be like,
book it and be like, I'm going. I'll see you when I get back. Because my culturally single self needs to go to LA and, you know.
I feel like I don't know if I even consulted him when I went to Cuba. I don't think, like, I make my own decisions.
I love that.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you have to, okay, like, say you're together like Dan and me, but we're not married. Do you think I need to ask him, like, if I'm going to go buy a car, do you think I need to give him a heads up or just go buy it?
I mean, it would be nice.
To give him the heads up?
Give him the heads up. I mean, I just like to know people's opinion about the color or, you know, whatever, but I don't really want them telling me what to do.
I do. I mean, I do run a lot of things by him, but at the end of the day, I'm doing it.
Well, I think that's
That's it. I'm just doing it.
I think that's fantastic, Sarah.
I love You're so like, whatever. Did you hear about, you watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians?
Sometimes. It's getting a little slow for me, though, kids. It's getting a little slow.
Well, now Keeping Up with the Kardashians is all about, like, now Kim's out, like, doing charity events. So essentially every episode is around her, like, advocating for gun violence, going to Skid Row, talking about homelessness. So what do you think? Do you like that turn where it's gone, or is it just gone kind of too lame now?
Well, I mean, I watched the other night for about 20 minutes, and that's all I had. And they were sitting around, and they were, like, on their phones. She's like, that's so sad. It's really so sad. And she's looking at Chloe, and I'm just like, okay, like, I don't need, like, I have sadness in my own life. Come on now. Right. It's
not about their lives anymore. Like, it used to be a reality show of them growing the brand, and then, like, Kim was trying to hawk, like, these nasty cupcakes or whatever, and she's trying to make it. Now it's nothing to do with, like, the family or Rob or China or all the good dirt.
I want to see some booty popping. I want to see some dropping and some locking. I mean, show me something.
Oh my God. Well, the whole point of this is obviously, Kim's best friend, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Is it Cheban? How do you say his last name? Cheban?
Cheban.
Yeah. That's it. Jonathan Cheban. Have you ever met him?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Well, he's trying to come to D.C. for New Year's Eve, and he and his rep are emailing restaurants asking if they'll pay him $3,500 to post a picture of him eating at their restaurant establishment as well as a free meal. Do you think it's worth it? You're an influencer. D.C. He's reached out to Mark Bucher, who's the owner of Medium Rare. You probably know Mark.
This is the problem with this.
What do you think?
I mean, this is the problem with this, and I guess you do have to do that to, that's really on your hustle. But see, I have a more discreet hustle because I would never do that.
I don't do that either. Although I will say I'm getting to the point, I'm getting all these, like, this is what drives me nuts. And I talk about, like, I no longer work for free. It took me many years, but I absolutely don't. And you and I have this thing. I have charities reach out to me all the time. Can you host my event? Like, I mean, to come and host your event for 2 or 3 hours and read a script for free? No, I'm not doing it. And then
I absolutely agree with that.
And then also I have people reaching out to me. I just had this yoga mat company. Hey, we'd really love for you to post this yoga mat on your Instagram. Okay, pay me. I don't need a free fucking yoga mat.
No, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? But I hit people back now all the time with, cool, here's my fee. But I don't initiate.
I hit people back with, make me an offer.
Oh, that's a good one.
With here's my fee. No, the fee is different depending on my fucking mood. Okay. You want to get real Hollywood up in this motherfucker? Sarah, you want to get Hollywood?
I do.
Okay.
That's really good. I
Make me an offer, and I'll let you know we're available.
What's the wording go? Do you just literally say, make me an offer? Or you go, what's your budget?
Does, like Diane does, or Tracy does. If they come to me, then I'll do it.
Do you ever reach out like Jonathan? You think this is a good move?
No, I don't. But I reach out in terms of like selling for the podcast or, advertising on the website or something like that. See, what I would have done if I were Jonathan is I would have said, I'm coming to DC. I'm writing a travel blog. I'd like to come to your restaurant, have a meal, include you in the travel blog on my website, and it's $3,500. I wouldn't say, let me, take a picture of me at your restaurant, because then everybody starts to talk about it. Like, now we know about it, and he looks so lame.
They've put him on blast. He has 2.2 million Instagram followers. And at Food God is what his Instagram name is. Now, he sent this, his PR person sent this to a district blogger who actually sent it to City Paper, and they posted the entire thing. Wow. And they essentially said, his person said, look, Jonathan usually charges $3,500, but if you guys have a different budget in mind, we're cool with that. And the problem that a lot of restaurateurs in the DC area are saying is like, wait a minute, aren't you supposed to have a food blog and a food Instagram where people respect your opinion?
Sure.
But you're willing to say for $3,500, you'll just give me a great review and post a picture about me without even trying the food.
Wow.
You think that's a problem?
I guess that's a problem. See, I didn't know he was a food god.
That's his Instagram, yeah. And apparently he's now marketing himself. I think he has been for a while, that his whole Instagram is all about delicious foods and all this stuff. Okay. But it makes you question that maybe none of that was actually him by choice. He just is getting paid.
Maybe not.
How much would we give him?
About him very much.
We should reach out. How much will we pay him to to post about this podcast?
I wouldn't pay him anything.
Really?
No. Would you?
I would. Hell yeah, he's got 2.2 million followers.
It's coming out of your pay.
I wouldn't do $3,500. I'd probably give him I'd probably pay $800, $1,000 if he wants to tweet about us.
$500. I'll throw in.
And you got to keep that picture up there. A lot of the BS, they post it for 2 weeks and they delete it. No, we're staying on there. Over the weekend, I thought this story infuriated me. And then whenever things make me angry, do you ever assess, because I always try to be very Buddha and Zen, right? Where no emotion.
Why is this bothering you?
Right, okay. No emotion. So there was an article in New Yorker by a woman, and it's called Catwoman. And it's gone viral. And essentially, it's all about a fictional story, right? It's a fictional story of this woman going out in her 20-something-year-old. And it's supposedly not about the writer, okay? But the premise of the story is this young woman, she's in college, she meets a guy who's a few years older. And it's the awkward kind of exchange that they have in ending up sleeping together. Okay, does that make sense? So it starts out... But from the start, this is what drove me nuts about this story, okay? So from the start, the girl meets this guy. She asks him at one point, she's working. She's doing some college work, and she's like, I'm hungry. So he's like, let's meet at 7-Eleven. She goes to 7-Eleven. She essentially buys her own hot dog or whatever nasty thing is there. And okay, so they go to 7-Eleven. There, she buys her own food. Anyway, then she thinks that they're going to go in and have a romantic kiss, but he kind of kisses her on the forehead and he makes her walk home back to her dorm room by herself, right? So then they keep texting and eventually they get together the night that they're going to have sex, and it's very awkward. They're at the bar. She has a drink. She's only going to have one drink. Then she gets drunk. Then they go back. They have awkward sex. He's a bad kisser. Anyhow, the next day she wakes up. She feels really guilty about what she's done. It's all about how women have a hard time telling men no. Okay? At any point in a relationship. Which this part I think I could relate to in this story is that when you're in your early 20s, you don't have that confidence to go, you know what? Even though we've had 3 drinks and it looks like we're having sex, I'm leaving. I don't want to be a part of this.
Talk to me. Mm-hmm.
So she has all this guilt, and at the end of the story, she ends up, spoiler alert, I guess if you haven't read the article.
Spoiler alert. Go ahead.
Okay, spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear the cat person, the end of the article. The end of the article, what she does is she ends up having a friend text the guy, I don't want to speak to you ever again. You know, sorry that we had this interaction. We're done. Okay. He sees her like a couple months later at a bar. She's with another guy. He texts her, hey, how are you? It starts out great. And then he goes, who's that guy? Are you fucking that guy? Are you, you whore? And then like the story ends.
Oh my God.
But women are genuinely super upset about this, thinking this story is real. And also talking about how that this is, men should not behave like this.
What are they most upset about?
They're upset about the fact that
he called her a whore, and
I think what they're most upset about is that so many women can relate to this story. Okay, so even though it's fictional, so many women have had this experience with a guy who's not that into them, who they end up having sex with, and then feel very guilty about. Okay. So they're blaming, a lot of women online are blaming men, that a lot of men treat women like this in this article. And I just want to know, like, what, to me, I read this story and I'd be curious, like, you guys listening, you need to email us on this one and we'll read your responses. It's sarah@heyfrase.com. It's paulwhartonstyle@yahoo.com. Read the cat person article. I was upset about it because I think this story is like a coming of age story, right? You almost have to date the asshole to appreciate somebody who is a good man.
Absolutely.
Don't you think? And isn't that in the gay community too?
Well, yeah, see, and that's what I was just going to say. Like, I hate to keep commenting on all of these stories that have to do from a woman's perspective, because I only know from a gay man's perspective, or from my perspective.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, you should.
And there's a lot of things that we have in common, but I mean, I kind of look to you in this, so I'm like, okay, what were they most upset about? Because this kind of thing has happened to me many, many times. Sex sometimes is awkward with someone for the first time, and then you realize you really aren't that into them, or they're not that into you, or whatever, and then they get drunk and forget that y'all really why you broke up. They see you with someone else. They send you an angry text. Like, that's happened to me 1,000 times.
Right. Okay. Do you feel like this is a big story, like that this should be a big deal, and that, oh my God, I can't believe men behave like this?
That's why I need you to explain to me. Like, I want to help you, sweetie, but you got to tell me what the problem is.
I read this and I'm so angry. I'm so angry at the women getting angry, and maybe women listening to this podcast will be able to kind of like explain it better to me. But no, I read this story, and like a lot of people were very empathetic to the girl, the fake girl character in this. Margaret, I think, is her name.
Because she got yelled at for being a whore?
Yes, they're very empathetic to her, that a lot of men behave like this. And I'm like, no, this is what, you have to date people like this in your 20s, because you don't know what love is. You don't have a good, steady kind of like understanding yet.
Yeah.
And then once you date these losers and you realize a guy that leaves you in the cold at 7-Eleven with a hot dog in your hand is not the man for you.
First of all, you saw my face. When you said 7-Eleven, you lost me there. Like,
exactly.
I don't even get my juice at 7-Eleven, okay?
I agree.
No, that's not going to work.
Email us, because I would be really curious. 2 more stories here. Oh, and by the way, our live podcast show.
Oh,
is
fun.
This Friday night.
This Friday night.
Live podcast show at the DC Improv. We're going to be doing all this is amazing madness live for you. We're going to be taking your end of the year questions. If there's anything you want wrapped up, right?
Year in review, honey. It's all coming out that night. 7:30 p.m.
7:30 p.m.
Only
Get
a few
your
tickets left, so.
Few tickets left, DCimprov.com.
Yep.
And we also have to give a big shout out to Christie and Derek.
Yes.
Got engaged. Yay! They are huge listeners to the show. Mervis Diamond had their trunk show a couple of weeks ago, and Chrissy and Derek have been together. They have an incredible love story, on and off, like all of us. And Chrissy emailed me years ago for some advice. She was really having a hard time getting along with Derek's mother.
Yeah.
So she had some major mother-in-law drama. And I said to her, you have to call her mother. You have to call his mother and really have a heart-to-heart and find out what's going on.
And she did, and it worked out.
Yes. So now they're getting married. They went in, they bought their ring at Mervis Diamond.
Right, but the best part is I helped him pick the diamond.
It was gorgeous. He did. And and you got to see the video. If you go to my Facebook page, it's just Sarah Fraser, hit pages on Facebook. The video is there with Paul. And be sure to watch, because the ring that you think they're going to pick, they end up not. They pick out something entirely different.
Something
which is
entirely
beautiful.
different. Oh, it's so gorgeous. And by the way, if you're in need of a last minute blingy gift for Christmas, we'll be doing a holiday pop-up at Mervis Diamond on K Street, 1700 K Street. Northwest in D.C. on December 21st. That's Thursday evening, 5 to 8. Come have a cocktail and shop for something sparkling with us.
Oh my God, perfect. Yes. And if you're getting engaged, let us know. We'll hook you up directly with Jonathan Mervis, who is one of the owners, and get you a fabulous ring. Great deal, just like we did for Chrissy and Derek.
Yay!
So let us know. You can always hit us up. It's paulwhartonstyle@yahoo.com and sarah@heyfrase.com. So you don't believe in sex with ghosts? You don't think it's possible to make love to a ghost?
Listen, I'm trying to keep up with... I only believe in ghosting people I had sex with. That's all I believe in.
This woman is 27 years old, and she claims that she has had sex with at least 20 ghosts, and she now prefers making love to a ghost over men. She was on a recent British television show. She says in the past 12 years, she and her fiance moved in together, and she's having sex with fewer ghosts, but she still feels their physical presence. Oh my God, I want to know how this happens. There's a weight and a weightlessness at the same time, a physical breath and stroking, and an energy as well, she claims. She had an affair with a ghost for 3 years, but that ended when her human husband came home from work early and saw the shadowy shape of a man through the window.
Okay. Well, there are some people that can orgasm without actually touching themselves. You know that, right?
Yes, I
Right?
do know that. Yeah.
Maybe just her imagination is just super active and she's in some kind of dream state. Maybe these are just like really elaborate wet dreams.
Well, that's basically what a therapist is saying. No, this woman disputes that, by the way. She says that Amethyst Realm is her name. She says she's absolutely having sex with ghosts. But apparently there's a lot of people who say that it's not really true, that it's essentially that you're almost hallucinating, and it can be extremely vivid and bizarre, and it can include tactical, visual, and auditory. According to a psychotherapist, stress, anxiety, depression, and trauma can make people more prone to this form of hallucination. Wait, how do you say it? Hallucination. Thank you. But they're not physically having sex with a ghost. So like you were saying, it's like such a vivid sex dream.
Yeah. Whatever happened to wet dreams?
Well, don't people still have them?
Do you remember any?
Well, I mean, of course you have sex dreams where you think you're orgasming, but then, you know what I mean? It's like you don't know because you're like still asleep. You're like, did that really happen?
Well, men know because, their underwear are stuck to them basically in the morning. Like, I've only ever had one.
Really?
That I remember.
Oh my God, we need to do a survey of men listening to this. How many have had wet dreams?
God. The good old days.
How much money would you want if a woman ripped out one of your testicles with her mouth?
That's just too much. What do you do when I'm not around you? What are you Googling to find these things?
A woman ripped out a man's testicles with her teeth, and now she has to pay him $700 in restitution.
What?
Would you die? If someone,
That's
I mean,
horrible.
I know that you are gay and you don't mess around with women. I mean, like occasionally. But like, if there was one more.
Don't even
bit your
lick my testicles hard. I mean, if I feel a tooth down there, I am going upside your head.
Oh my God.
No, I'm serious. I don't play with that. And this story is going to traumatize me even more.
Okay, well, oh my gosh. Nunzia Del Fiesco. I don't even think I'm saying her name right. I'm sure that was like absolute. I'm sure.
How did she do that?
Out of Utah. $700. She was drunk and high. Hooked up with a guy, ends up biting his but ripping out his testicle with her mouth.
Oh. God, I'm horrified.
Police responded to the victim's apartment where the attack happened. This actually happened in Europe. So she only is going to have to pay him $700, which is about $673 in America. Police responded to the victim's apartment where the attack had happened. Oh, there was blood on her teeth and her face.
There's a circle of trust that's involved with going down on someone. I mean, do you know what I mean?
They'd been drinking and taking drugs all afternoon. Well,
Okay.
he deserved it.
No, he didn't. No one deserves that. That is awful. When I was 10 years old, I had a Jag, and these guys came one night. I was at a friend of mine's house, and they took a baseball bat and they broke out the windows in my Jag. Did I tell you
Oh
about
my
this?
God. I don't know if you did.
It was the craziest shit. So they broke the back window, the big back window. They broke out like the passenger window, the driver's window, and then they shattered the windshield.
Damn.
Those guys had to pay $4,000 in restitution.
And that wasn't even your
He only
testicle.
got paid $700 for his ball.
That was it.
That's crazy.
Because they were able to place his ball back in his scrotum, and he had 15 stitches.
I'm sorry. I'm almost.
Can you
this is too much.
imagine?
It's too much.
Oh my God, that seems so incredibly painful. So incredibly
Okay,
painful.
I've got to recover from this.
Are you okay?
Yeah, barely.
One last thing. I know I didn't want to bring this up too much because you don't watch. You never watched the show Making a Murderer, did you? on Netflix?
I watched the first season.
Oh, you did? You watched Brendan Dassey, and then did you watch the second season of Stephen Avery and then Brendan Dassey, where Brendan Dassey, the nephew of Stephen Avery, has been in jail for several years, accused of rape and murder? Well, convicted,
no.
But they're saying that he was under a false confession.
Okay.
Well, again, like everybody, like I watched this and I was like so fired up. Our justice system's a mess. Well, a federal appeals court in Chicago narrowly overturned a ruling Friday that would have freed a Wisconsin inmate from making a murderer, Brendan Dassey. The full 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals reviewed Dassey's claims that investigators tricked him into confessing that he took part in raping and killing photographer Teresa Halbach in 2015. Dassey was sentenced to life in prison. But, you know, the big controversy was he gave this confession to 2 detectives without his mom there, without an attorney, nobody,
on
essentially.
Video?
On video. And it seemed like they coaxed him into a lot of the stuff. But so far, a judge has upheld that confession.
But people say that a lot of inmates or a lot of people that are accused of a crime give these kind of false confessions
all the
because
time.
They just wear them down. Now, you know, as my in-house investigative reporter, is that so? Tell me about that.
Yes, happens all the time. One of the guys that I interviewed for Mansion Murder, this really well-respected former DC detective, and I want to read his book, but it's Jim Trainum, and he writes a book on false confessions. And when he started in the DC Police Department, he talks about how they were taught how to basically coerce people into confessions.
Wow.
But all the tricky shit he did. And then finally, as he got older in his career, he started taking a stand in the police department, and he'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. And, you know, kind of the rift and the controversy that caused. And now he speaks all the time about how police departments really need to guard their integrity.
Wow.
But it happens all the time. And Brendan Dassey, I mean, this kid, I mean, if you saw the second half of Making a Murderer, there's no way. This kid is so slow. Like, he's basically there trying to confess because he wants to know if he can go to a WWE wrestling match that's going to happen that night.
Like, you got to be kidding me.
No. And so far they have upheld that. Our justice system is a mess.
It's terrible.
It's so terrifying. Anyway, I wanted to just end on that note because I know a lot of people do follow true crime, and I'm obsessed too. But anyhow.
I love it.
I know we are. All right, Paul, what else have we got? Are we good?
Hey, you know what, kid? I am so good.
Woo!
I am just going to be listening to my Patti Labelle, having a good old time, girl.
Oh, my God. Come to our live show on Friday night. You can see all this in action, dcimprov.com. What else? We
yes! Good? I am great.
All right, kiddos. We love you. Email us, paulwarrenstyle@yahoo.com and sarah@heyfrase.com. Your email could be read.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We won't blow up your email spot or your last name.
Exactly.
But anyway. All right.
Bye, guys.
Should be listening. Live from the nation's cap, pop culture at its best. No need a second guess. Separated from the rest. Entertaining nonetheless. Many topics to address. Sarah, she's so glamorous, the #1 hostess.